You.
Darrell Brooks, the defendant, seated at the table.
Let the record reflect that I do not identify by that name, nor do I know anybody by that name.
Before we get into today's video, I do want to let you guys know that this video is for educational purposes only. Please remember to be kind to everybody everywhere in your everyday life, in your home, in the grocery store, and especially in the comment section down below. Please do not show hate to anybody, anywhere. Good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance in hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? I hope you all are having an amazing day. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. I hope y'all have been enjoying the extra videos that I've put out for spooky season. If you have not seen them yet, you should really go and check them out. I have a whole playlist for spooky season 2022 if you are bored and you want something to watch. I think they're really good. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the highly requested court case, roundabout, everything lumped into one video situation with Darrell. Now, you guys have been asking me about this ever since the trial started, and I kind of wish, like, looking back, that I would have done like 3 videos a week, something kind of like we did with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation, because there was just so much stuff with the trial that you just couldn't put it all in one video. I'm going to try. I'm going to put some of the highlights in this video, and we're going to go over some things. And if you're not all caught up and you don't know everything and the history of Darrell and all that stuff, we're going to talk about that today. And we'll also be talking about the verdict and what is next. And then, of course, I will tell y'all my opinion on things. But before we start talking about Darrell, I did want to spend a few minutes talking about the 6 victims of the Christmas parade and the 60-something other people that were injured. So if you guys do not know, there was a Christmas parade. It's something that they do every single year. It's very well known in that town, and they have people from all walks of life that come to this Christmas parade, as well as walk in this Christmas parade, everything from children all the way up to grannies. There's even a group that walks/dances in this parade called the Milwaukee Dancing Grannies. Like, how cute is that? And just people from the community, they come together during this time in order to celebrate, the holiday season and, loving each other. And it's just a really good time. But something happened on this day that has never happened before and hopefully will never happen again. And that is when a red SUV came plowing down the middle of the parade, hitting people every which way without stopping. Now, again, over 60-something people were injured and 6 people lost their lives, ages ranging from 8 years old all the way up to 81 years old. The parade victims who have passed names are Tamara Durand, 52 years old, Wellham Hospital, 81, Jane Kulich, 52, Leanne Lee Owen, 71, Virginia Jenny Sorensen, 79, and Jackson Sparks, 8 years old. And that's just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, anybody that was even there, I'm sure, was traumatized. I'm sure if any of them go to any parades from here on out, they will look at things differently. If they hear a horn honking, they're going to have that little bit of panic. And, when you think about taking your children or your family somewhere, something like a Christmas parade that you've probably done every year, you're not expecting something like this to happen. And the amount of damage that was done by just one reckless person is almost incomprehensible. So let's move on to Darrell now. Now, Darrell has quite the extensive background. I mean, he's not somebody that just had a bad day or a lapse of judgment. He's been getting in trouble for a long time, and I'm going to let y'all hear what his mother has to say about her son and what he did too here a little bit later. But this is a man that has a lot of issues, and to be honest, again, in my opinion, should have never even been on the street in the first place, should have never been free. He should have been locked up at this time, and this would not have happened. Before we go any further, I did want to stop and thank today's sponsor, HelloFresh. Enjoy fall's freshest flavors. Every HelloFresh recipe has ripe, delicious produce from the farm delivered right to your front door.
HelloFresh's line of kid-friendly recipes is picky eater-proof. Perfect for families wanting to try something new for the school year.
And HelloFresh offers veggie, pescatarian, and fit and wholesome meals to help you keep your goals going, especially during the holiday season when I know I'm gonna be eating a lot of junk food and a lot of chocolate. So thank you to HelloFresh for all of your delicious, well-rounded meals. You guys, cooking HelloFresh with my middle school son has become one of my favorite bonding things to do with him. He loves it too, and the directions that they send are so easy and clear to read and understand. Each direction even has a picture to show you exactly what you should be doing through each step. And with HelloFresh, you can easily customize your meals by swapping proteins or sides or upgrading to choice proteins and even adding protein to a veggie meal. It has never been easier to eat your way. I highly recommend HelloFresh for families, for single parents where you can have leftovers, or even if it's just you, where you can pack your lunch for the next couple days. If you want to try HelloFresh, all you got to do is go to HelloFresh.com and use code ChristinaRandall65 for 65% off plus free shipping. It's so easy. Just go to HelloFresh.com or click the link down in the description box and use my code ChristinaRandall65 and you can get 65% off today. Thanks again, HelloFresh. So Darrell just had his trial, and I'm filming this for you guys on Wednesday, October 26th, and he was found guilty today. And when I tell y'all, if y'all didn't get to watch it, his trial was a mess of all messes. Darrell decided that he was going to defend himself, and we all know what they say about people that defend themselves. They say a man that defends himself has a fool for a client, basically meaning like you're a fool if you try to defend yourself. But he did. Now, probably an unpopular opinion, but a lot of people didn't think he had any defense at all. I do think that he would have had some defense had he had a good lawyer or a good defense team, but he still would have probably been found guilty because he was guilty, okay? But he did have some sort of defense, and I'm going to tell you guys about that in a minute. But during the trial, he made a complete spectacle, so disrespectful. It's very obvious that Darrell has major issues with authority, and it's either problems with authority or women, because he went at the judge. And I am just convinced that that judge got in her car every night driving home and cried. She was probably so exhausted, so overwhelmed, probably never been disrespected like that before. And it was rough for her and everybody else in the courtroom. While Darrell was putting on these antics in the courtroom and stuff, the family was sitting in there. And that's the part that really just hurt my heart, was knowing that the victims' families were in there watching all of this stuff go down. And I mean, he argued about wearing a suit.
Are you willing to go back to your cell and put on your suit?
It is my right to do so or to not do so. And at this point, Your Honor, who doesn't know that I'm in custody?
Mr. Brooks, I've had many trials with individuals who were in custody, and when I've talked to the jurors after the conclusion of the case, they had no idea. The whole point of allowing for street clothing is not only to shield jurors from the fact that you are in custody, but also you being in a suit and a tie or other street clothing, I think also lends to the dignity of the proceedings. This is a trial. Again, it is your choice. Are you willing to go back to your cell and be dressed in the street clothes that you previously appeared in?
With all due respect, I do not agree with that assessment whatsoever. There's no possible way that anybody will not know that I am in custody. I think that's a well-known fact because it's reported on every day in the media. It's shown every day on the news where I am, what jail I'm housed in, and that I'm in custody. It's virtually impossible for anybody to not know that I'm in custody.
Now, remember, guys, he's in the position of being his own lawyer, okay? Whether wearing a suit or whether he should wear his, jailhouse oranges. One day he was in there with his shirt off. He yelled. He belittled people. He called his ex-girlfriend as a witness who he was accused of attacking right before driving the SUV into the parade. He tried to make her look like a bad mom. He yelled again at the judges, at the prosecutors. He picked apart the witnesses for both sides. He took boxes and made a fort with them. He took a Bible. He was waving it around. He had the Bible upside down. He objected to just about everything, it seemed like. And when they would sustain his objection, he would say grounds, meaning like, what are the grounds of this? He just argued everything. It was just a lot.
Do you have a claim in this matter?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Sustained.
Have you read the complaint in this matter?
Objection
Grounds?
irrelevant.
Not relevant. Sustained.
Do you know who the plaintiff is in this matter?
Objection irrelevant.
Grounds?
Sustained.
He even accused one of the jury members of flipping him off.
There's the lady in the black that's closest to the screen in that corner chair over there. I recognize her from my initial appearance. She flipped me off coming in to my initial appearance and coming out. I know it's her for a fact. I seen her about like how I'm looking at you right now, so I know for a fact that's her. I don't want that to end up being an issue. Is this some type of way that could be addressed by Your Honor?
Mr. Brooks, you had an opportunity to exercise preemptory strikes and even to question jurors about that. You chose not to. So at this point, any issue you have with that juror is waived.
And then the part that was like funny, but also shocking was when he stared down the judge, you guys. And I'm sorry to laugh. I shouldn't laugh but his face and his jaw was clenching. Look at this.
So can
Your Honor, I believe he has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
Right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared.
Can you imagine? Like, what was he thinking in that moment while he was staring at her? So anyways, with all of that, it was a lot. Darrell Edward Brooks Jr. was 39 years old when he plowed his red SUV into the Waukesha County Christmas Parade on November 21st, 2021. At the time of the parade, Darrell was out on a $1,000 cash bond related to charges filed earlier in November in Milwaukee County. Darrell has an extensive criminal record dating all the way back to 1999. When Darrell was 17 years old in September of 1999, he caught his first charge, and that was a battery charge. He stayed in trouble from there, little petty things, in and out. And then in November of 2006, this is when he became a registered S offender. And that was from him getting a 15-year-old girl pregnant, who was actually the woman that he called to testify in court, who was also the woman that he allegedly beat up right before he plowed his vehicle into this Christmas parade, and he was arrested for that. Now, Darrell argued his point in court and said that she lied about her age, but nevertheless, he was registered as an S offender from there. Darrell grew up without his father, but he did have a very loving and supportive mother and a sister that also helped to raise him. It is said that Darrell started being hospitalized at the age of 12 for mental health issues. So he has been dealing with these mental health issues for a long time. He does claim to be a sovereign citizen, and I didn't even know what all a sovereign citizen meant until this trial. And if you guys don't know, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, but it is people that are here that claim to not be a part of America's government system. They don't follow the rules, And I have seen interviews with multiple different prosecutors and lawyers who say that when they have somebody come in that claims to be a sovereign citizen, they want to lose their minds, and it's horrible. In 2010, he was charged with a strangulation charge, and you guys, it's just been this pattern. It has been this pattern, and he really should have been contained somewhere, if not for his mental health, but for his safety and the safety of others around. He has been a violent offender since he was a teenager. But from what I understand, the reason why Darrell was actually not in jail at the time of this parade is because in this county, they're trying to do this thing where they don't want to keep people incarcerated because you are innocent until proven guilty, and therefore they don't give people large bails where they can't get out. So when he got arrested right before this incident at the parade, his bond was only $1,000. He got out, went and found his baby's mama, whooped her butt. She was running, left from there, and ended up in the parade situation. Now, just to give you guys some more details on the night of the parade incident, it was November 21st of 2021. Dozens of witness videos showed the red SUV plowing through the parade and appeared to show the vehicle hitting members of the Waukesha South High School Black Shirt Band, the Milwaukee Dancing Grannies group, and a children's dance group. An officer even shot at the SUV in an attempt to stop it. Fortunately, no bystanders were injured by the gunfire, and authorities said that they don't believe any shots were fired from the SUV. Now, Darrell would then get out of the SUV and begin to run. He went and knocked on people's doors, saying that he was homeless and that he needed help.
Hey, I called an Uber and I'm supposed to be waiting for it over here, but I don't know when it's coming. Can you call it for me, please? I'm homeless.
And people were turning him away until the cops found him, and then they arrested him. Now, when the trial began, his mother was asked, what do you think about him defending himself? And she said that she knew it was a terrible idea. She knew that it would be manic and that she was heartbroken for the family. Listen to this.
To help Darrell, I knew that he was not mentally capable of presenting himself as his own attorney. And he always says, Mama, I'm fighting for my life. And I said, I know that, baby. But we have to look at reality for what it is. You did do what they said you did, even though it wasn't intentional, but you did, and you're gonna have to go to prison. And I hate to say this, you're gonna see manic, full blown. That's what you're going to see. I have written a letter to the families, and again, I give my condolences. My heart goes out to each of them. I ask God to give them strength. I ask God to give them peace and comfort them.
When I heard that, my heart just, really hurt for hers as well as a mother, because she knows her son is wrong, but she has no control over it at this point. Now, when Darrell did his opening statements, it was so hard to watch, you guys, because there is one thing about Darrell that y'all might get mad at me, but I'm giving y'all my opinion. I know that there's people that think he's putting on a show, and I do think he was trying to get a mistrial during this, but I also think that's who he is. He is all over the place. He's manic. He's crying at some points. He's sorry at some points. He's off the chain at some points. And I think that's why he stayed in trouble, because he was that way. But when he did his opening statements, he lost me and my family that watched this when he started saying that there are people hurting on both sides, meaning his family is hurting just like the victims' families are hurting. And I'm sure that they are hurting, but this isn't the time, because this isn't about them. And the jury does not need to be thinking about his family. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe that's the court of law, but I don't know. To me, it was like, Now, a part of the trial that I think that he could have had for a defense, do I think it would have gotten him off the hook? Absolutely not, because he was guilty. And I'm going to tell y'all what I think happened. But he found out that there was a class action lawsuit against Ford for that make and model vehicle that he was driving. And that became his new defense. It was on the vehicle that it malfunctioned and he couldn't stop it. So it was all the vehicle's fault. Now, what all do I mean by this? He found out that there was this malfunction in this class action lawsuit. And so therefore he began to say in court that when he was driving the vehicle, he was honking to tell people to get out of the way because he could not stop the vehicle. And then there was people that testified that the vehicle only went 35 miles an hour at the max. Okay. So therefore his defense was like, I wasn't driving through trying to hit people. I couldn't stop the vehicle. And therefore I was honking. But that doesn't explain why he whooped his girlfriend's butt before, you know, all these different things. And if you see the videos of him driving through, the look on his face is not of panic, get out. It is of anger.
When I observed the driver, he had no expression on his face and he was looking straight ahead as if he was looking straight through me.
And that never changed?
No.
And this leads me to telling y'all what I think happened. I think he was in a manic rage. I think that he got into the fight with his girlfriend and he was pissed afterwards and he seen the parade and he just drove through and did not care. And I think it didn't hit him what he actually did until later. And I do think that somewhere deep down inside that he feels bad about what happened, but it doesn't matter. Like, he took lives. He took 6 lives and injured 60-something people and, you know, probably traumatized hundreds of people. And this really could have been avoided had he have not gotten out of jail. Had he have been sentenced somewhere long before that. And please, guys, know that I don't think that the prison system is great. We've been here. We've talked about this. There's a lot of changes that could be made. But there's one thing it's good at is keeping people off the street that can hurt others. If they're in prison, then they're not driving through a Christmas parade in a rage while they're out on bond and just beat up their child's mother. They go back to court on August 31st to decide when sentencing will be. I am pretty sure he's going to get life in prison. They don't do the death penalty in this state, so he's going to get life in prison and he's never going to get out. And boy, oh boy, they're going to have their hands full with him in prison. So what do you guys think? There were times, you guys, that, you know, he did things that were funny to look at, but then when you think about the victims' families sitting in the courtroom, it's not funny. You know, I just can't imagine what the judge thought, the prosecution thought, because even though, you know, he may have been waving his stuff and whatever, and we're like, look at this is crazy. But then you think about an 8-year-old boy's parents sitting in there watching this, or, you know, the 3 children whose mother had passed, or the grandchildren. Like, then it's not funny. It's ridiculous, and it's excruciatingly painful for them. So what do y'all think? Let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. And other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will see you guys next week. Thank y'all for being here, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.
We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust.